Hello again. I'm strongly opposed to racial prejudice in the sense that I believe that everybody of any ethnicity should have equality of opportunity in all fields, including education, employment and housing, and of course, equality before the law. To hold such a view doesn't necessarily mean that one must believe that all ethnic groups are similarly endowed when it comes to physical stature, levels of hormones or cognitive ability. It simply means that regardless of these things, all humans should have equal rights and duties in society. The problem today among progressive and liberal people is that holding such views on equality of opportunity is insufficient. One must subscribe also to the doctrine of equality of ability. That is to say that not only is every person in society entitled to the same protection from arbitrary arrest, the same rights as everybody else, but that one must believe ardently that every person is equally likely to be either a football player or a high court judge, a musician or a university professor, a garage mechanic or an architect, regardless of ethnicity. Even expressing doubts about this lays one open to a charge of racism. This is the crux of the modern preoccupation with racism and the witch hunts for racists. However committed to the equality of rights and opportunity in society a person may be, and I have championed this view fiercely for well over half a century, it's not enough today to free one from the suspicion that racism lurks within the soul. Only by subscribing to the idea of equalitarianism, that all human beings are equally likely to be geniuses or fools, can our views on race and ethnicity be regarded as acceptable. There are those who are dubious about this proposition, who think, for example, that some ethnic groups have higher levels of testosterone than others, and some have very low levels, and this might perhaps affect behaviour and levels of aggression. Similarly, some people believe that intelligence is largely heritable, and that because of this, some groups tend to have higher average levels of cognitive ability than others. Such people are known as race realists, although there are those who say that this term is no more than a euphemism for racists. The problem is, of course, that free discussion of such ideas is no longer possible because the accusation of racism is enough to stop any sensible conversation dead in its tracks, which is, to say the least of it, unfortunate. It is enough to realise that there is a sharp difference between those who deprive certain ethnicities of the rights enjoyed by us all, that is to say, advocating for something like the apartheid system, which formerly existed in South Africa, or the segregation of the Deep South in the United States in the 1950s, and others who support fully the idea of equality before the law and equality of opportunity, but are not quite so sure about the equalitarian dogma.